Hello, good.
Caddy, how are you, man?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Let me just get myself seated here. How are you, man? How's your day been going?
Day's been going pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
September 1st.
Right.
New month. I hit balls for the first time in four months.
Oh, congratulations, man. How'd that feel?
Yeah, it felt good. I definitely lost my golf hands. There's definitely not enough padding there, but it went a lot better than I thought it would. For example, I thought my speed would be way down. When I was in Florida, my speed kept coming down due to the sickness and all that, and now it's back to kind of where it was before or 2 seasons ago. So, new and improved.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, besides the timing and the strikes and all that, everything seems to be working just fine.
Doesn't that feel good, man, to come back and just be out there and hit, man? How nice is that?
Yeah, it's very nice. It's unfortunate that there's not too many chances to get on a golf course at the moment, but it's good.
Yeah. Good. Well, congratulations, man. Welcome back. I'm super happy for you. That's huge, man. Did you learn anything today? Anything new come up? Anything pop up that you didn't see coming?
Other than, I'm better than I thought I would be when I started golf back up. No, not too much.
Ooh, that's nice, though. Good to know you're better than you thought you'd be, huh? Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Well, why don't we just keep rolling today? I'm going to teach a few new things, and then as we wrap up today, I'm going to lead you through what I could call an MVP, where we do some meditation, some visualizing, and I throw in some powerful self-talk for you. So this will be a technique that we'll work on, that we'll practice, and initially, everything we're working on, Maddie, as we start, is this central concept of learning to be present, of learning to be where you are, and then learning to just recognize that everything I'm doing is always in the now. The now is always different. Every day is different. Today, when you went and hit, the now was surprising because you were like, well, better than I thought, right? So when you tune yourself into the present all the time, you're able to really pick things up. You're able to be here more often. So essentially, our initial work is just, hey, from our talk last time, how present have you been, Maddie? Were you even aware of being present, or was this the first moment you've even thought about that since we spoke last time? Tell me about your experience being present.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it here. I've just been trying to, I would say, haven't been thinking about it too much. I think I would start out the day just saying, all right, whatever happens, because I'm doing a lot of matches online here, so I'm trying to stay present in those, and I've got it down. But yeah, no, I would say 50% of the time I've been thinking about it.
Right on, man. Well, hey, good awareness. It starts with becoming aware, right? You're aware today. And then as we start to work together more and more often, the concept of being present, man, we can go 12 miles deep in that. Going down that rabbit hole, digging in deep and kind of finding out all that stuff. There's a million things we'll learn going in there. But it just starts with intentionality, right? So one of the things we'll talk about is being where your feet are. I'll say that a lot. So wherever you find your feet, Maddie, you got to be there as well, right? So whatever you're doing, wherever you find yourself, just put your intentionality as best you can to be there. And then did you ever catch yourself drifting away from the present? Like maybe you should have been locked on the screen. Maybe you should have been locked on the ball you were over. Do you ever find yourself drifting? You ever find that and then bring yourself back to the present?
No, not really.
Okay. So the skill is, you're not necessarily going to be in the moment all the time. You know how it is. Man.
Yeah.
Hard, right? And I'm a human being. I'm not in the moment all the time. My mind is everywhere.
Well, I guess I'm extremely not present when I'm eating like lunch. I'm not sitting there thinking of everybody. I'm thinking of this, a bunch of things. movies. Whenever I watch movies with the family, I'm present enough.
No.
But yeah.
Okay. So it's good awareness. So once you start to realize, like, man, some moments are more challenging than the others. Like, I might be watching a movie with my parents, and you're like, this is hard. It's hard to be here. Like, my brain wants to do something else,
Yeah, no.
I'm with it. So just notice, right, there'll be sometimes on the golf course. There'll be sometimes when you're in the pool. There'll be sometimes when you're sitting in front of a screen when you're like, I don't want to be here. That happens. There'll be moments like that, right? And there'll be moments where it's hard to be there. There's moments where it's challenging to be there. And so when you find yourself away from doing the things that are maybe naturally easy to be present, if you can allow yourself to just, maybe if you're only there for 30 seconds, try to be there for 2 minutes watching the movie with your parents. Try for 2 minutes. And what you're doing is training yourself. You're training yourself to actually be there. And it's hard. Like when you're eating food, you mentioned when you're eating, you're not eating food. Your brain is somewhere, you're not even like tasting the food most of the time. This is what I've noticed with most people. We're not really where we are most of the time. We're thinking about what's next. We want to know what's next. We're already anticipating what's next. And so, I think it's super important that when you find yourself eating food, see if you can taste it. There's a meditation where all we do is eat a piece of chocolate, and all we have to do is taste it. We have to actually slow down and taste the chocolate and figure out what you actually experience when you taste it, instead of thinking about, I got to go do this next. How often in life do you think it's not here, it's somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? Think about that.
All right.
Does that make some sense?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's easy. Somewhere, and you're telling yourself, this ain't the place to be. That's a trick. It's a trick. And if you find yourself in a place and you go, this isn't life, life is right there. You know what I mean? I'll have people say, I'm bored. And I'll be like, well, that's almost impossible to be bored. If you're actually engaged in what you're doing, or you find yourself focused on something, right, you can do it. So that's the start. Maddie, does that seem like something that's worth your time, man?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Does this stuff make some sense?
It does.
Talk to me about, again, why we're doing this. Like, cause this is going to be hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? What kind of stuff will we call on? You know what I mean? If you're like, I don't necessarily want to be present in those moments, which is fine. Is this something, like, how do you like to be coached? How do you like to be, what's the best way to help you?
That's a tough one. Usually you answer that one.
Hey, you don't have to answer that. I'm just saying, like, I'm here to help, So
yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So it's like, if you find, like, help me help you, if you're like, this is the kind of stuff that's effective with me, or I've found that coaching helps me get to certain spaces when they coach me like this. And you may not know that yet, but like every human being is different with how you work with them, So, yeah. So just something to think about. If you find ways that you're like, hey, this really helps me, or this is challenging for me, but I want to be challenged in this way, or I want to like go into that space and explore a little bit. Oftentimes in the present, trying to find meaning in the moment can be hard. But every moment has meaning. And I want you to think about this. If you knew you weren't going to have another moment, if you knew there wasn't another moment other than this one, would that change your perspective on what you're doing? And so sometimes the way I look at it, as if we're assuming we're going to have more moments. We're assuming that we know what's going to happen in the future, when we don't. Like, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in 20 seconds. We don't know if there's going to be an earthquake that hits. We don't know any of that stuff. Stuff comes. So if you can think about meaning in the moment, Matt, if you can think about this moment has meaning, you know what I mean? No matter what it is, even if you're like, I'm watching a movie with my parents, or, you know what I mean? Or just whatever it is. You start to think about it has meaning. And when things have meaning, have you noticed that you engage in them a little bit different? If something means something to you, have you noticed something?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
100%, yeah.
A way to help you with getting better at focus is actually finding meaning in what you're doing. Because once you find meaning, the focus happens automatically. For example, if I said, bro, we were going to die in 10 minutes, this whole conversation would change drastically, right? The meaning would drastically change because we would see the mortality of our lives. And all of a sudden, because we don't know if there's another moment, this would have way more meaning. Maybe you want to talk to your parents. Like, things would get real clear with what you wanted. You see how you just looked at me? Even your engagement. So I'm saying, as you start to find meaning in the moment, your ability to engage in the moment strengthens. Your ability to be in the moment strengthens. I don't know if you've ever been around someone that actually savors every moment or every breath. I don't know if you've experienced that before, where someone is so tuned in, they're following every breath. And if you've been around someone like that, it helps you realize how valuable every breath is. And so what we're going to do today is bring our focus down to our breath. That's what's actually happening in the moment, is our breath, right? I don't know if you've been aware of it the whole time we've been on the phone. You've been breathing.
No, I'm listening. All right.
Have you ever done any breathing exercises, or have you ever focused on your breath before, or heard of that before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, your breath is just a grounding tool. Your breath is happening right now. So as you start to bring your awareness to your breath, it becomes an anchor in the moment. So when things are running wild, or you find boredom come in, or something takes you away, and you find your breath has meaning now. And if you want to know how your breath has meaning, all we got to do is hold our breath right now, and I'll tell you how much your breath has meaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets really real in about 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So your breath is a tool to bring you here. If you can be aware of it, and you have a will to want to be here and find meaning in it, even when you're eating food, there's meaning in there. Even when you're watching a movie with your parents, there's something there for you. Often it can take an exploration. You got to at first you're like, oh, bullshit, bro. This movie is lame. But again, if you didn't know you were going to have 5 minutes from now, that changes your perspective. So one of the things I think about every day is our time here on Earth is limited. It's the same for all human beings. Facts? You with me on that?
Yep.
Every human being comes here, and your time here is limited. Guaranteed. So once we know our time is limited, that makes our time so valuable, because we know it's not unlimited. And so one of the greatest things that will help you learn to be in the moment is understanding we don't have a lot of time here. And our time here is very, very, very brief. And this is the guarantee of life that all humans go through, the human experience. So once you know that, I am mortal, I am not going to be here forever, that means right now has tremendous fucking meaning, Maddie. It has tremendous meaning, because we will never have it back. We will never have it again. And this will never be able to be experienced like this. So if I miss this moment, I missed it. And if I'm missing the moment, I'm missing life. And you don't get it back. You don't get those moments back. You don't get to re-experience it. You ever notice when people you ever seen someone who's facing death, how real it gets for them? How things get super clear. They might know what's important in that moment. They never knew what was important before. Right? And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, now I realize. So my point is, it's not to scare you or anything. It's to bring life out right now. And oh my God, once we know that, that means this moment does have meaning. Eating this bowl of spaghetti here, whatever, waiting for what's next. This spaghetti has meaning. It's here. It's alive. It's now. It's real. When you're walking down the street and you're walking by flowers, smell the flowers. Smell them in real time. You know what I mean?
All right.
Or don't.
All right.
Or go through life and realize you missed the whole thing. Or do that. And you're not old enough to know this yet. That's why I'm talking to you like this is real. The only thing I hear from people as we do our training is they go, I wish I would have understood what being present means, G. I wish I knew that earlier, and I wish I understood the value of that. So it's okay if you don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know at 19. Someone told me at 19, I was like, well, it's okay. But as you go through life, you realize this becomes the thing that perhaps is the most value of anything you've ever experienced. So it's not about what you do later. It's experiencing it now. The only time you can experience life is right now, Maddie. Does that sentence make sense?
It does.
Whether or not you're here or not. Right? And if life is valuable, eating that bowl of food has tremendous value. And here's what I've noticed too. It's called being mindful. You ever heard that word, being mindful?
Yeah.
So mindfulness, right? You hear this word all the time. The word is so blown out of proportion. I don't even know what it means. essentially just being conscious of what you're doing, man. Experiencing the food you're eating. Experiencing the thing you're doing in the moment. Just for the experience, not for the reward after. So you're gaming. Are you doing it for the experience of it, or so after someone tells you you're good at it, or someone tells you that was, you know what I'm saying? Or is it the actual experience? And then once you're done, who cares what anyone says? Who cares? Like, the experience is already done. Do you eat ice cream for the experience of ice cream, or do you eat it so when you're done you can talk about what ice cream is like with someone else?
Yeah.
So my point is, some people experience life, some people like to talk about life. It's a big difference. It's an astronomical difference. To me, it's being in the game, or you're in the stands watching the game, talking about it. So a lot of people in life aren't really here. They're not really here. They don't think it has meaning. They think the meaning is somewhere in the future. They think what they're looking for is somewhere else. You know what I mean? They think it's literally somewhere else. They're like, oh, it's somewhere else. And all I know is they're not in the game because they're not here, they're not present, and someone has told them it's somewhere else. You ever had someone tell you, what are you going to do when you grow up? You ever heard that before?
All the time.
To me, that's like the craziest fucking sentence in the world, because that's telling you you're not doing it right now. I'd ask you, what are you doing right now? Why would you not be doing it right now? You're already a human being, fully capable of all the mechanics of life. Don't think it's somewhere else. Don't think it's later on. Have you ever heard someone tell you can pursue happiness? You have the right to pursue happiness?
Yep.
Doesn't that mean it's not here? It's somewhere else? Why would you pursue something that's already here?
Yeah.
So even that, saying it's somewhere else. When you were in school, did they always ask you where you're going to go to college? Like, why didn't they ask you how present you were right now? So I'm not asking you what you're going to do in 5 years. I'm asking you, Matt, in this moment, right now, with me and you, this shit is the realest fucking moment of my life right now with you. I don't know if it is for you, but I'm saying, man, the more you're here, the more you put meaning to it, the more you understand what this is, man. All of it exists right now. I'm not pursuing happiness. I'm experiencing it with you right now. You know what I mean? This isn't like I'm going to, 10 years, I go find it. It's here right now. Go ask a 5-year-old if they're pursuing happiness. They're experiencing joy in the moment. You don't have to pursue that. It's whether or not you experience it right now. So when you're eating your food and you're thinking it's somewhere else, I'm like, he's missing the joy of that food. Now, maybe it's shitty food. Maybe you don't like any of that. But I'm like, man, don't miss the experience of life right now. And when we get into the experience of life right now, this comes back to golf. Now you're going to stop trying to shoot a 54 and you're just into the experience of swinging. And after that round, I'll say, hey, bro, did you know you shot a 54? And you'll be like, what the fuck? And I'll be like, isn't that crazy when you forgot about all that shit and you just got into the moment and trained yourself to do it, that's what happened. And you won't even know it happened because the whole thing is the experience. So first of all, does that make some sense?
Yeah. Yep. Alrighty.
Okay. All right. So if that makes sense, then we just put our intentionality into that. That's all it is. So how much life did you live today? How much were you here today? How much did you have meaning today? Because we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. I don't know that. If you somehow know what's going to happen in the future, we should just go to Las Vegas and make bets, right?
Yeah.
Because if you know, but since we know we don't, every day we wake up. So being grateful is an incredible skill to learn to be in the moment. Because when you're grateful, it allows you to be here more. So if you're grateful for the food you have, you're grateful for the boring movie your parents have on, if you find a way to appreciate all that, you can find a way to be here more often. Not every moment in life is just this like blissful, I don't know how to explain it. Like there's all different moments. It's just how much are you here? If that makes sense. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, Maddie, is how real being here is. And then it comes down to just awareness, as long as you're aware. And then your intentionality is to be there. And then as we go through this week, this is your training. Your training is, okay, I got to practice being where my feet are. I got to practice being where I am. How often am I thinking about results, outcomes, likes, followers, what's next? How often am I just like way there in the future? And then how often am I in this experience of the now? And I want you to think about this. The experience, when I'm really in the now, just experiencing it, what are my results like? What are they like? And what are my results like when I'm just thinking about results all the time and I'm really not in the moment? I'm kind of somewhere else. I just want you to start becoming aware of that and notice what your experience is like. And then, does the analogy make sense about eating ice cream?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you like ice cream, but like, do you like ice cream? What's one of your favorite foods? Tell me what's one of your favorite foods.
I'll have to go with mussels. I guess you know what that is seafood.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So really good mussels, right? You got some really good mussels. I'm out here in California, man. Like you're by the water too, right? Aren't you in Vermont? Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm close enough to Maine.
Okay, we're a mile from the water, so mussels are everywhere. So when you savor those mussels, right, just perfect. You just do it for the moment. You're not doing
yeah,
you know?
I would love to savor mussels if I wasn't allergic to shellfish.
Oh God, okay. That makes it complex.
Which means I should eat them more because I'll be very in the present while eating them, saying I could die, but that's okay.
Okay. All right, well, mussels. Those aren't good for you. That's dangerous. That'll get you in trouble.
Yeah, no, mint ice cream. Let's go with that.
Okay, so you're eating mint ice cream. And enjoy the mint ice cream. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Enjoy the mint ice cream. And watch, your brain will want to think what you're doing next. It'll want to wonder what's next. See if you can just get lost in the mint ice cream. And here's how you know you're getting better at being present. Your experience of time changes. Have you ever had an experience where you've been doing something for an hour, but it felt like maybe 5-10 minutes?
Yep.
You ever had an experience where you've done something for 5 minutes, but it felt kind of like an hour?
Yep.
Okay, so one of them was probably way more pleasurable than the other. I'm not even asking what your experience was. So if we find ourselves engaging in what we're doing, we have the ability to change our perception of time. And this is how you know time is relative. Time is different for everybody. When athletes get into the zone, everything slows down. It doesn't go faster. The experience of an hour will feel like 5 minutes. It'll feel like that when you're really dialed in. For someone on the outside watching, it still seems like an hour. But for the person going through it in the zone, their whole experience of time shifts. So now we know time is relative. We know that's a fact. That's a fact, right? So time isn't just this linear thing that works the same all the time. It all depends on your experience. You just said when you were really engaged in something, time totally shifts. And when you're not, 5 minutes feels like an hour. So our experience of time is how you can start realizing how present you are, if that makes sense.
Alrighty.
So something to think about. If you're resisting the present, you don't want to be there, it's going to feel excruciating and feel long. If you just relax into it, even if it's uncomfortable, say a stretch. Say you're doing a stretch and your body's super uncomfortable and you find yourself resisting the stretch. As you resist it, it's going to feel longer. If you can relax into it, you'll allow yourself to come into that moment, relax into that moment, and you can shift your experience in there. Now, this takes tons of practice. A great example, you ever watch like race car drivers? You ever watch like racing or NASCAR or anything like that?
Every now and again.
I never really watched it too much, but I got to work with someone, and he told me his experience of coming up to a crash, when he would approach a crash. And as he would come to the crash, you can't see shit. It's all smoky, it's all cloudy, so you don't have a lane. And you're talking to your person on the phone or on the headset, and they're basically like, they can spot a place for you to go through. And he said as he's going through this, he gets so locked into the moment that everything slows down. And yes, he's going 200 miles an hour, but the experience was like he was going in slow motion, going through the crash. And so that ability to really dial into what you're doing, your brain can slow everything down around you, even though it's going fast, and it'll shift your whole experience. And you have way more control in those moments instead of it feeling like it's going super fast. So a lot of the stuff we'll do as we get into it, your ability to slow things down under pressure is where you'll see a big shift. Does that make some sense? Things won't feel as sped up sometimes. They don't feel as sped up. All right. So that's kind of our work this week. It's working on being where we are, having some fun with all this, having fun. Joy is the key. Remember, we're not pursuing happiness.
Yeah.
Joy exists right now. And I'm not saying everything feels great. That's not what I'm saying, right? Some of the best moments come through vulnerability. Some of the best moments come through being uncomfortable. Learning to be here through that. And then we're going to do, if you got about 5 more minutes, we're going to do a little meditation now. And I'm going to lead you through a little meditation if you want. And we'll kind of work on just getting ourselves locked into the moment here. Do a little visualizing, a little self-talk. There we go.
Whoops.
But you want to do it? You ready?
Lead the way.
Okay, so I'm going to invite you to sit back where you are, Maddie, and I'm going to invite you to get yourself comfortable. And if you feel, I want you just to close your eyes. Just let your eyes kind of just drift down. And all I want you to do is find your breath now. Start to bring your focus to your breath. And I want you to breathe in through your nose. And feel the air go all the way down to your belly. And feel your belly expand. And then breathe slowly out through your mouth. You're just going to allow yourself to merge right into the moment right now. And you're just going to let everything relax and relax and relax. And do the best you can just to follow your breath with your attention. Follow your breath with your awareness. And as you follow your breath, at any moment during the day, you can take a breath and bring yourself back to your center, back to the present. And as you find yourself here in the moment, in the present, just notice what's here for you, Maddie. Just notice what's going on. Just be an observer right now. If you have a bunch of thoughts coming up, just notice those thoughts like they're clouds in the sky. Just observe. And I want you to bring your awareness to your body right now and notice if you have any stress or any tension in your body. And I want you to let those body parts just relax and relax. Just continue to breathe on your own. Just letting yourself come into this moment. Good. And now I want you to imagine that you're getting ready to hit again tomorrow. And I want you to see yourself going through your pre-shot routine. Just allow yourself to stand over your ball, nice and fluid and free. And you find your breath as you're standing over your ball, and your breath centers you. And then I want you to trust your swing, fully trust your swing. Feel how great it feels. Your whole body is fluid and powerful. The sound of the ball is perfect, right off the club. And I want you to follow that ball as it's in the air. You struck it beautifully. And then I want you to hear the ball gently land on the grass. And as you hear it land on the grass, you feel that incredible good feeling inside of you. And you have a realization at this point, and in your mind, you realize golf is what you do. It's not who you are. And in your mind, you tell yourself, I'm free to be fully me. Golf is what I do. It's not who I am. And as you let that realization settle into you, I want you to feel a whole bunch of freedom come into you, a whole bunch of space inside of you that allows you to fully trust your game, knowing this is what you do, but it's not who you are. And in your mind, I want you to tell yourself, I love myself unconditionally. Golf is what I do, not who I am. Good. And as you let that set in, Maddie, I just want you to gently bring your focus back to your breath. Just find your breath again. There it is. Filling up your belly, in through your nose, slowly out through your mouth. Good. And I'd like you to take just another 2 or 3 breaths on your own. And when you feel ready, I want you to gently and slowly start to open your eyes back up and just slowly bring yourself back to where we are. Take your time. Nice. Good work.
Alrighty.
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Good. Beautiful. Okay, that's an MVP.
MVP.
We did a little meditating, right? You found your breath. Then we did a little visualizing. I had you imagine being over the ball. Were you able to kind of see yourself being over the ball a little bit? How was that?
Yeah, it was good.
And then were you able to kind of tell yourself, hey, golf is what I do. It's not who I am. You say that affirmation to yourself?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So let's leave on that note. Last time we talked, I said, hey, how do you identify? How do you identify? You said, I identify as a golfer. I was like, right on. That's a great first start. I want to start to introduce the idea that golf is what you do, along with swimming and gaming and many other things in your life, but it's not even close to who you are. And by understanding the difference, knowing that golf is what I do, it allows you to have a freedom to really go for it without this fear or without this worry of results or outcomes, because it's simply what you do. Does that make some sense? If you are golf and you have 4 bad rounds and something goes wrong, it can feel like you as a person is devastated. If golf is what you do, that's a whole different experience. You're like, hey, golf is what I do. One of the players I've seen do this was Kobe Bryant. He did it with basketball. Everyone thought he was a basketball player. He'd be like, I'm not a basketball player. He's all, clearly I'm a human being. Come on, man, look. I have arms and legs. Like, I'm a human, right? Clearly. You're not a golfer. You're a human. You're not what you do. But you can do many things in this world. But having the freedom to know that I'm doing this, but this isn't me, allows you to have a whole different level of confidence, a whole different level of space. So just want you to think about that this week. Is, okay, if I'm not a golfer, clearly I'm a human. Like, clearly there's a human experience. If I identify as a human, does that give me some more space, some more ability to expand what I do in golf? So just something for us to think about, okay? So here's what I want you doing this week. We're always practice being present. Wherever you are, do your best to be there. Just do the best you can to be where you are. I'm doing it with you. I am not perfect. I try my best. It is challenging, but let's try our best. And then if you want to do any more, like, we'll do an MVP probably every time we talk. We'll do a little meditation. So you can also do those by yourself, but anytime you want, you can close your eyes, do a little 2 or 3 minutes, just find your breath, Maddie. You can just find your breath, breathe for about 2 minutes. It'll help you get centered. So if you find yourself all over the place and you're like, I need something right now just to kind of help me come to the present, just breathe for like a minute or two, and it'll help you out a lot.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay, man, does this feel good? Good place to break for the week?
Sure thing.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to checking in with you again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, Maddie, great work.
Yeah.
Cool.